Howdy folks, how's it going? This is Nick Sievert, founder of Jenga FX, and today we're going to be showing off the power of an RTX 3090 with EmberGen. Luckily, I scored a 3090 from a friend in Canada. They had one in a store near him, and so sent him the money. He bought it, shipped it to me. So thank you, Shirk. That's his name. You know who you are. Thank you for helping me get my grubby little hands on a 3090. Really happy to finally have one. The power is immense. Things that I couldn't run on my 1080 run like butter on a 3090. And so without further ado, let's get into a real quick announcement besides the 3090. And what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and show you. So you know what this is. I don't even have to say much. This is in EmberGen internally, and animated mesh running in real time. How about it? It is spectacular. So voxelization is in real time every frame. You don't even have to click voxelize anymore. You just load the mesh, it just runs, and then you can emit from it. So this will be coming out in hopefully at the end of January in our January build. This is the only like demo that we have right this second showing this kind of stuff. So hopefully things turn out well, and that we can continue to fix a lot of the bugs that are happening with animated meshes. But just right off the bat, wanted to show that it's really cool, really promising that we that we have these animated meshes. I personally don't have access to a build that does this yet because it's still hard coded and whatnot, but it's very promising. And I think on like our lead technical artist rig, he has a 3090 as well, and you can voxelize like a mesh with, I don't know, like 8 million triangles or something in real time with minimal performance hit. So really awesome. So that's pretty cool. Hello from Russia. Animated meshes. Yep, indeed. As for what Linux version we will support, I don't know. We'll have to find out. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and run old EmberGen here. And as you can see, this is absolutely butter smooth. We're using about 3 gigabytes of the 24 gigabytes of what do you call it, VRAM. In 1 second. And so if you're curious, I don't know how well you can see it on stream here, but we've got the Zotac Gaming 24 gigabytes, whatever else kind of garbage it says on it, but really fast. And so it's very nice. I'm excited. This is the best graphics card I've ever had. Typically, I'm way behind on the times with GPUs, but figured it was finally time to upgrade. So let's go ahead and hop into some intense simulations and throw the hardest stuff we can at it and see how much we can bog it down and see what cool stuff that we can do now with these extra, what is that, like 16 gigabytes of memory for me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open up a preset that I know is intense. And so we've got this one right here, delayed combustion. And so the voxel count on this thing is, let's see, 77.5 million voxels. Right? And so that's pretty cool. And I think that what we'll do is I might do like a little tutorial on the stream showing you guys how to create this like delayed combustion explosion. I think that could be a pretty good idea to make the stream worthwhile rather than this just being a benchmark. And so we have a couple of different of these delayed explosion examples. This right here is one that likes to chug even on the 3090, but we're getting, I don't know, what is that, like 10, 15 frames per second? If I pause it, it's completely butter smooth. The sim time is 71 milliseconds on this one. So yeah, you know, this card can definitely do a lot cooler things than my previous 1080 that I've done all my other streams on. So I'm really excited about that. And let's see, so this is 109 million voxels on this particular one. And so it's definitely really cool. So we can show the bounds here. And yeah, it's really cool to be able to see this in real time, because on my 1080, this thing, like, I would just have to like start it and then it would just kind of chug for a little while. And like this right here would take, I don't know, it was like 3 minutes to like get to this point if I was exporting textures for, you know, a video or something like that. So to be able to do this at this speed on the 3090 is pretty incredible, and it's going to speed up, you know, our video production and you know, being able to showcase sims and things like that, and be able to push EmberGen farther than I typically could. So yeah, and you know, great job for NVIDIA for creating such a good card. However, cannot discount the new AMD, what is it, the 2800 XT, I think is the new card that kind of competes against 3090. Would like to see what we can do with that card as well, because it has some really cool memory features on it. And so yeah, and in this case, yeah, I'm only filling half of the VRAM. So, you know, it's interesting. And so let's see here. Let's go ahead and open up another massive explosion. Okay, so this one has like these particles dropping. And you've got like this, if anybody's seen Game of Thrones, they know, what's that thing called? Oh, I can't remember the the name of the poison stuff. It was like poison fire or something like that. Anyway, that's kind of what this is mimicking. The big green fiery explosions and stuff like that from Game of Thrones. And so, you know, it's really cool that we can do this kind of thing. And like now that we have this power at our hands, if we wanted this to go farther up, all we got to do is just go here and we'll say, what's that, 768 is the next big one. So we can go ahead and hit apply, and let's see how high it can go. So we extended our bounds by quite a bit, and so that's pretty awesome to be able to do a simulation of this scale. Oh shit, we're hitting the we're hitting the wall. What is that in? The y-axis? All right, let's improve the y-axis here. It's still going pretty quick. All right, it's starting to chug. I think it's going to chug on the render as we get more voxels and things like that. Yeah, Jason, I saw some heavy ones. I'll download those here in a second and see what we can do. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty cool to be able to simulate this big. One thing I'll note is that we do have sparse simulations coming. So like all these pieces right here that are just being wasted, like all this wasted space, we'll be able to remove all of those things. Oh, look at that. That's a cool bug. So we'll be able to remove all the wasted space and put the compute power to where it belongs in the actual sim and the render. So whenever we get sparse grids in, hopefully early next year, we'll have that. So Jason said he sent me some stuff, and so I'm about to look at it and going to download this stuff. So I'll just put it on my, one of my folders. So 1 second, guys. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so let's see. All right, so I got the new presets. Let's see. All right, heavy it is. Let's see what this does. So we're filling up 11, a little bit like 11.5 gigabytes of VRAM here. And so we got a little explosion. It looks pretty damn good, if you ask me. We need to fix our rendering so that it doesn't have like these white edges on really dark smoke like that. It's probably a setting. Maybe we're using like sharpening or something like that in this particular case. But otherwise, it's a pretty good explosion. It must be using upscaling. Yeah. If we turn upscaling off, we can see it's a pretty quick explosion. We can bump it up to 3 and see how fast we can make it chug. Hopefully the stream still runs smooth when we're doing this. It might just not work. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's working. I think I found a bug on the 3090 where if I go above 2x sim resolution, it just doesn't appear. I have all kinds of weird glitches that we need to figure out of why it's happening. Hello, if I'm using an EmberGen from Octane Enterprise license, how can I download new presets? Whenever the build updates automatically through our installer, it should just give you new presets. Right now, I think we have 104 presets. So yeah. So yeah, and one thing I'm curious of is if the camera, or like my camera and stuff like that, lags whenever I'm doing simulations this intense. But that's pretty high quality stuff. Let's see what else we've got. Let's go ahead and play. I haven't tried any of these presets before, so they are new to me. But we're running 100 and, let's see, what is that? 190, about 200 milliseconds. And for sim, it's 65 milliseconds for our render time. So it looks like we had like a meteor hitting a building or something like that. So one thing I also wanted to show is this GPU tornado, and just how quick the 3090 can run a lot of these particle based simulations, and just how cool you can get it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the Z to 512. I'm going to show my bounds so I can see what's going on here, and I'm going to move my point force all the way up here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to increase our particle count. So we're going to go into the volume and increase our pool to maybe like 11 million. So let's go ahead and resize the particle pool. And then inside of our emitter, we're going to change this and boost that number way up. And so now we've got this, let's see. We'll go ahead and pull this out so that it's bigger. And so we've got this really nifty tornado. And I mean, that thing is running really smoothly. Sim time 7 milliseconds, render time 2.8 milliseconds. If we zoom out, it goes up to about 3.5 milliseconds for the render. And so this is really nifty to be able to do it this fast. So let's see. I'm pretty impressed by a lot of this, honestly. We can make the base of the tornado bigger. And last night I was what would you call it, experimenting with how a lot of this stuff here works. So we can remove the point force, add in the line force. Let's go ahead and remove our repel strength, increase the twist, and now we have more of a radial twisting force here. And if we increase our push strength upwards, we should get the tornado to kind of go upwards. And that removes some of the like, I don't know how to describe it, like some of these like lines. So you can see how there's like, it's like a corkscrew, it's like a screw or something like that. And if you do it this way, it kind of removes some of those so that it's a little less spirally when going up. It'd be nice if we had a way to do like a constant rotation or something so that we can kind of prevent this. But I'm thinking that it has to do with like a combination of push strength and maybe noise and like how our particle emissions work and things like that. I'm not entirely sure. But we change this to regular instead of entangled, we might get some better stuff. And actually, let's like increase our cylinder height. So we'll increase our cylinder height like really high. So it's all the way at the top here. It's kind of funky. But it is really cool. Oh yeah. Let me go ahead and remove the noise on that cylinder too. So there we go. It works for a little bit. Then it does some weird physics stuff. If you look at the velocity, I'm pretty sure that like all this stuff points down. And there is some kind of physical phenomenon that causes that to happen in a case like this. One of our programmers might be able to say why it happens, because I don't particularly know. Let's see. Ben Veasley, I believe that's how you say his last name, says, hi, is there any news about how LiquidGen is developing? No news. We are working on EmberGen right this second. We need to finish EmberGen before we seriously start on LiquidGen. It's just kind of how stuff works right now. But all the work that we're doing on the new EmberGen UI and things like that helps us with LiquidGen just by default. So it's kind of being worked on if you look at it that way. So yeah, you know, really, really cool simulations. Let's go ahead and boost our side voxel count up. And so yeah, I wish that we could do a constant force. You know, let me change my fall off on this thing, and let's see if a constant fall off of maybe like 10 meters helps with this, preventing it from kind of going down like that a little bit, but it still kind of does the same thing. I think that dealing with the push strength is still the best way to handle a lot of this stuff, and then keeping the emitter shape down to like, I don't know, 5 or something at the bottom down here. So it is what it is. Lots of cool stuff though, and it's cool to see this many particles. I think let's see how many particles we're at right now. So we're climbing, but it looks like it's going to about 8.8 million particles on this particular sim. And you know, one thing I wonder is, let's remove the line force and let's increase like our buoyancy. Let's make like a smoke plume out of this stuff. And one thing I want to do as well is I want to turn this turbulence off, because I bet that affects a lot of stuff in how this works. Let's also remove shredding, and then let's increase our buoyancy. So let's go ahead and restart that buoyancy. Maybe remove our temperature dissipation. So there we go. We got something like that. And maybe we want even more buoyancy. So let's see. And perhaps, yeah, so that's pretty cool. And what we could do is we could also put in like a force down here in the emitter. And let's go ahead and change the size of that. We could do something like 55. And so now we've got this interesting particle-based smoke plume thing. It's kind of one-dimensional on the noise, but I think that's due to a noise bug that we have right now with like shearing on the noise set. But it's kind of cool. You know, it actually kind of reminds me of like lots of bubbles like traveling through water. That's kind of what it looks like. It's pretty cool though. And what happens if we increase like our lighting so that we make this brighter? And we got some really cool details in there with the darker particles in the center. And we can also increase our what do you call it? I thought that you could increase like the color over life, or like the shadowing. I'm not sure where it is though. In this particular case, maybe it only works for per particle. But either way, it's really cool how this works. I just increased the velocity strength of the particles, and so yeah, really cool sim. I mean, that looks great. And if we move the light, it should react to the lighting as well. And so that is a beautiful simulation. So moving on, one preset that made my 1080 chug was this. And fire shading isn't perfect, but on the 3090 it is no match for or I guess the sim is no match for the 3090 in this case. And we can increase this, like say 768, something like that, on the Y direction, and have a much larger area that this explosion goes across, and 3090 just eats through it like it's nothing. That's pretty incredible. We've got about 50 milliseconds on the sim, and once everything gets going to, it looks like we have about 50 milliseconds on the render as well, at its highest point. And so that is pretty cool. And you know, I'm curious to know what this looks like without the fire gradient. I bet that you could get some pretty good coloring out of this if you messed with it a little bit. So let's see. Let's go ahead and just pause it right about there. Okay, so we got a emissive contribution, fire intensity. Probably don't need it that high. And then we can do something like that, lower those colors. And then let's see, something like that. Just checking out the flames density and whatnot, fire color intensity. And then can probably boost our emissive contribution. That already looks a lot better in my opinion, in terms of the flames. And then we can also go into our emitter and probably emit more smoke, and that might give us some better colors. Yeah, look at that. So that's really cool. We changed that around real quick to make it look a whole lot better. One thing that we're going to do is we are going to have better pyro shading in general, so that we can have you know, like the dark spots and things like that inside of your flame rendering. And so, I mean, it's incredible how fast this renderer is when everything's paused. And so, really awesome. So yeah, let's see. So that's a pretty cool sim. And in this, I don't think we're using our, what do you call it, gas release. So we can make this emit more gas and expand the fire. And so that's already looking more realistic. We could probably go overboard, do like 150%. It might hit the bounds on the edges here, but that is looking pretty incredible. And so you got a movie in the background, you got a bombing run, things like that, or some kind of, I don't know, gasoline pipeline or something blowing up. EmberGen can do it. So pretty awesome. And we could even I bet we could even go higher on the Z axis here and see just how high those flames go. Make it a little bit more viable. You know, look at that. So it is making it all the way to the top up there, and it's still going. Awesome. And so, and then once again with our sparse grid technology, all of this stuff will just kind of not be computed, and then all this over here can run a whole lot faster. So gonna be really awesome when we get that. And also with sparse grids, you won't have the issue of things hitting bounds at all. So let's see, what other presets are notoriously difficult. I know that like these shock waves were really difficult for my 1080. And looks like it runs just like butter smooth. We got 2x upscaling. Let's try 4x. And so right now we're doing 308 million voxels about 10 gigabytes of VRAM. So 608, is it 600 or 308? Let's see. Yeah, 308 million voxels. Render time, 113 milliseconds. Sim is only 19. So whenever you have a lot of really small voxels, our renderer struggles. even on the 3090. We're going to do some big render optimizations, I hope, here soon. But it is pretty awesome that we can render 308 million voxels on this. So pretty intense. Pretty cool sim as well. I know we have like a building implosion as well. And I think that what we'll do is, oh yeah, that's really cool. I wonder what that looks like with a higher upscaling amount. Sorry for the dogs. I don't know what they're barking at. Yeah, so that looks pretty cool. And so really awesome. So that is what 308 million voxels looks like. Let's see. So I think that what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of go into like a tutorial mode, and what we'll do is we're going to make sure that we kind of go over the delayed combustion, and what we'll do is we'll start from scratch. And so I think somebody's at the door. That's why they're barking. We got people downstairs. And so yeah. So let's see. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and just create a new preset from scratch. And we'll go here. And so, uh-oh. Looks like I crashed. Nope, it just locked up for whatever reason. Okay. What we can do. Hang on. Let me see if I can get these dogs to be quiet. Okay, here we are. So, now, on to delayed emission. So, how can we do that? So, basically, if you want to do delayed emission, so I'll show one of the presets again real quick and kind of go over the overview of how it works and how to do it. So, let's see, we'll do, I guess, this delayed combustible sim again. And so basically, we're emitting fuel. We make sure that we don't have any temperature inside the simulation. And then what we do is we set the, I believe what we do is we set the combustion ignition temp to something really low. So the ignition temp is really high at first. So it's higher than the ambient temperature. Yeah, dogs are okay. And so yeah, so we set the ignition temp to like 3000, so it's really high. It can't ignite on its own. And then we set the ignition temperature to low, and then you get that big burst. And if you notice, there is an ignition like right here, but that's because I have an emitter that is emitting temperature. So if we look inside the sim here, we can see these little temperature doodads showing us everything, and then we can see that the temperature combusts pretty rapidly, and that's going to give you a really nice big well-rounded explosion. So let's go into creating it from scratch from the default preset here. So what we can do is let's go ahead and increase our bounds. We'll do something like I don't know, 320 by 320 by 512, just to have a bigger simulation area. And actually what we might do is for the beginning, we'll lower this so that we get a higher frame rate. So let's lower this. And then whenever we need to expand our bounds, we will. So 224 by 224 by 352 is our sim size. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change our temperature to 0. And then what we'll do is we want to make sure that we add our fuel rate to the timeline here. And so let's go ahead and set this to 0 on this key. And on the first frame, we want to do something like, I don't know, 1500, so that we emit a lot of fuel. And so then we want to change our smoke rate to 0 as well. And we want to go into our volume node, and we want to be able to see the fuel. And so in here, there's a render smoke, render fuel, render flames. Make sure you check render fuel. And if we want to, we can color the fuel like green or something like that, just so that we can get a good idea of where it is. And then we can change our density scale to be a little bit lower so that it doesn't have a lot of these rendering artifacts in it. And so now that we have this, the cool thing about this is that you can ignite it at any point that you want, and by delaying the ignition of the fuel, you get a lot of these like really unique shapes that you don't get normally, where if you're just using a sphere, which I think we're using a torus right this second. Yeah, so this is a torus, but if you're just using like just a torus or just a sphere, you know, you're gonna have like that round shape, and that shape is going to be present in your initial explosion. But if you hide the fuel, or you could keep the fuel shown, but if you hide that stuff, then the initial shape is going to be this, and it's really organic. So let's go ahead and ignite this thing, and let's see what we can do with it. So we want to go to our combustion ignition temp. The current is 2600, which appears to be fine. And then we're just going to set this down to like, I don't know, 89 or something like that. And now you can see that the ignition is delayed. And so then suddenly it ignites, and it burns away all the fuel, and we've got that. So, but how do we make it explosive? Okay, so step one of making it explosive is to very rapidly ignite the fuel. And then the big part is adding in the combustion gas release. We'll do like 157 or something like that, which is probably a bit too high. So we'll go to like 109. So we have something like that, and so that's pretty powerful. And so what we can do is we can also, what I like to do is I like to shred the fuel. So let's see. So we'll go here. We'll add in some particles. And let's move those down, so something like that. And what we want to do is we want to change this to a cone. We want to make our maximum speed like, I don't know, 35 and maybe 25. So we have that. So we've kind of shredded the fuel up a little bit. We can reduce our cone here, and so we have something like that. That's going to give us some extra velocity inside the sim. It's going to give us you know, a different shape, and it kind of rips through a lot of the fuel, things like that. So really cool. And then also one key point to making a really explosive sim is the amount of fuel, and of course the amount of pressure. And so what we could do is we could lower this, and so, but right here we'll do something like 3500 on the fuel. And then let's go back to our simulation, and we will increase that gas release again. And so now we can go ahead and increase these bounds, so we can see that it was trying to go over on the x-axis a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that. And so now we've got the particles ripping through it, and then boom, we've got all the fuel igniting over there, and now we have a really big explosion. We can also increase our y-axis and even our z. And so now we've got something like this, and then kaboom, you can see the green fuel being blown away and igniting as it goes along. Now you've got a really big explosion, really small area. And then we've got that. And so Jason is saying, I wonder if tricking progressive ignition and extinction help or hurt. Well, let's find out. So let's turn it progressive all the way up to 1. You know, I'm not entirely sure what progressive does. I think that it creates higher temperatures through this. And then we can also like lower our smoke gain as well if we wanted to. And so we can also turn off the particle rendering, which would speed up our rendering a little bit as well. And so yeah, so less smoke creates more fire. So we have a big fireball-y shape here. But that's the gist of delaying ignition. And we can also do something like, you know, a sphere, and you know, perhaps we want to, you know, delay our particles or something like that, so we can move them down, and then it doesn't really get shredded through until the end. And so you can kind of see that it creates some interesting scenarios. So it is pretty cool though, what you can do here. And we can also kind of work on this shading here. So we can go into the volume, and we can change like our fire color intensity. We can lower maybe that, and we probably want to do some sharpening as well on the temperature to help get some of those high ends. So if you go over here to volume post process with no post processing, this is what the explosion looks like. Pretty dull and boring. So if we go to sharpen, you can sharpen the temperature, and that will create high points in the thing. And then you can also do sharpening on your flames to help give yourself some more detail. And so that's pretty cool. Also, we can sharpen the smoke if we want to. So if we want you know, higher detail inside of the smoke, you can get that with sharpening, if you didn't know. And then also, due to the default preset, we are using modulation. And so if we turn modulation off, and let's go ahead and just restart this sim. So we've got something like this, and we got the big exploding fuel ball. If you turn modulation on, like what this is doing is it's essentially creating more concentrated areas of temperature. And so if we turn this off, you can see that the higher the values that we go, the more we remap the temperature to the flames renderer. And so you can do temperature to temperature, but that's just going to be like everywhere. So if you do temperature to flames, specifically where your flames are, it will create hotter spots in that. You could also do the same thing for like smoke or whatever if you wanted to. And you know, you could even do like flames to smoke. And if we boost this back to like 2500, you can get you know, some of those deeper explosive colors or whatever. So we can do like maybe 1000, and now you have fire kind of inside of the smoke. So modulation is a different topic, but essentially you can take the source of your modulation and I guess map a curve of a different channel onto it, so you can, you know, remove flames or add more smoke or whatever, specifically where you want it. And in this case, we have more of the classic fireball, where the fire is kind of encased in smoke, and that's a pretty powerful option. And what we could do is we could make this look better, so we could add on a second modulation. So let's do here, we'll go temperature, we'll go to flames. Once again, we'll do 2500 on the flames. And so now we've got a little bit of both. So if we turn off the smoke modulation, you can see how bright the flames are. When we turn the smoke modulation back on, kind of dulls a lot of that down, and adds in a lot more detail, a little, you know, I don't know, the cauliflower look that you might want to be going for inside of your simulation. So pretty cool to be able to kind of tweak this stuff. And of course you can you know, change like your curve and whatnot. And we're going to have like an actual curve editor for this kind of thing in the future. But it is really cool to see what this thing can do. So we can kind of tweak that how we want. And there we go. Now we've got a really nice big rolling explosion. And I think the last piece that we're missing is maybe some more emissive scattering from the flames onto the smoke. And so if we go into here, we can kind of see that we're missing out. So if we go back up to emissive scattering, you know, maybe we want to do something like that. So maybe we want to animate our intensity. So we'll go here and we'll make this something like 219. By the time we get up here, we'll make it brighter. So something like that. And so now, whenever we've got this, it's going to increase the glow intensity. And now we've got a really nice glow throughout the smoke, and that looks pretty damn good to me. One thing we might want to do is also maybe color the smoke a little bit darker. So we'll go here, and I hate all these plateaus in our simulation. You can see like all these harsh edges. Hopefully we can have a fix for that sometime early next year. It's an issue that's plagued EmberGen for a while. It happens whenever you use BFECC, and like what happens is like the temperature like cools off at the top, but it doesn't propagate to the rest of the sim. So you kind of get those errors. If you're far away and or like you're rendering like a VDB or something like that, depending on the angle and how the sim is working and how it's shading, like you can't tell in a lot of cases, but in some cases it's really really noticeable, like whenever we do the modulation on the smoke. So it's kind of a something that you gotta mess with to figure out. So what was I doing? Okay, so our smoke, so we can do like 0.05. That might be way too dark. Yeah, I think that's gonna be way too dark. We can do like 0.2. There we go. So that's a lot darker smoke, and that's a pretty good looking explosion here. And so one thing I'm interested in doing is we're going to take these shape particles. We're going to go to our collider, show the collider, and we're going to go here. And what we're going to do is we're going to let's see, animate this emission. And so it ignites right about there. So let's just turn it on there and then off there. Actually, I did that backwards. I need to do it off first. So I want it to rip through as soon as it ignites. Something like that. Okay, so now we can kind of roll with that and then tweak what we have. So we'll go to the collider. We'll change our velocity transfer to like 28, maybe even lower than that, like 10. And then what we can do is we can make the particles smaller as well, maybe, or just make more. So we'll do maybe 20 particles and a min size like 0.25, max of maybe 0.45, something like that. And yeah, that's giving us some pretty cool tendrils. And then what we can do is we can add gravity. So we'll do like -150. Maybe that's a little bit too high. I think I need to increase my speed now. So we'll do speed scale 2.5. It's a little bit too high. And let's reduce our cone as well. There we go. It's kind of cool. And now that kind of brings like this arcing motion of like, say, heavier fuel kind of arcing back down. Is kind of why I did that. And so we can see that velocity pulls these flames back down, and we also have some cool little tendrils going through. We can reduce the cone spreading even more, and let's make it activate later. So we got something like that. There we go. Now we've got the cool fiery tendrils kind of going through. And so yeah, so doing doing explosions is a lot easier on a 3090, but it is possible on lower end cards, of course. And then just in general, creating this explosion took I don't know, like 15 minutes or so. I think that's about how long I've been going on about this. I'm just kind of tweaking it, and so there's a lot of power that you have with EmberGen, and like you can create so many different emission shapes based on this, and it's just it's pretty crazy, like how much variation you can get just by changing like your shapes. So like I don't know what would happen if we made this like a box, but we can make it a box. We'll see what happens. It's probably gonna explode really huge. Holy crap! Yeah, that's a lot of fuel. Wow, but it's running fast. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, so way too much fuel. So we'll remove, we'll make the box like 2 by 2 by 2 meters, and then get a bit different. And so you can see that now we've got like this this kind of boxy shape on it. We had the cool particles going through it, and then temperature racing up as the flames heat up. It's pretty cool. Of course, like in the simulation, you can change like the temperature gain, so we can make the smoke and stuff rise extremely fast. We can see this is completely blown out due to how high the temperature is in this simulation. Fuel is burning extremely hot. Create some pretty cool flames though when we do that. So let's go down to like maybe 2100. You must be an expert at explosions now. Well, I've been messing around with EmberGen daily for well over a year, and so I know a lot of the tricks. And so yeah, look at that. Changing the smoke temperature lets it rise a little bit faster. And so if you like those you know, those big plume rises and stuff like that, you know, maybe increasing your temperature is a good idea. Because look at that, that's giving you that really big, powerful, you know, mushroom cloud that you get whenever you ignite gasoline and stuff like that in real life. So pretty crazy. And you know, we could change this to like a torus as well. See how it changes it. You could also increase like the, oh, and by the way, you'll notice that the fuel is green. If we change this to like a neutral, like black color, and then we have like the fuel igniting, you're not going to have any of those like big green blobs or anything like that. What did I do? Oh, I added the torus. I was like, this thing just grew a whole lot bigger than it was typically growing. So we can do something like that. Lower the radius by quite a bit. That's probably too much. Yeah. Too low. And so let's go back to like a box here and make sure that that works still. Yeah, so that works still. And so we've got that. And then of course, like in your noise, you can add this, you know, maybe it's like 25. If you really want to expand where that is, it'll be a little bit less explosive because the fuel isn't in such like a confined area. Yeah, those those steps are really visible whenever we do that modulation. Let me see if that kind of goes away if I turn off the smoke modulation. Let's see here. Yeah, so those steps go away a lot whenever temperature is isn't as prominent. And we can also, I wonder what this looked like without the BFECC. Well, let's do like a higher order first and see if that removes stepping. Might increase it. Yeah, so it kind of increases it. I don't know. It's hit or miss. But let's do EmberGen. Oh, that was anticlimactic. We'll do first order. Yep, very anticlimactic. It's crazy how much of a difference it makes. So let's do like maybe we'll do 15,000 on the fuel ignition for this. Yeah, so really, just really soft is what EmberGen gets you. Wow, that does give you some really cool flames though. It's really really smooth. It's probably too much fuel, so let's do like 8,000, and let's see what we can do with this. Maybe we can get some higher vorticity in this right here, and perhaps increase the detail on that. So we'll go to our simulation, and we're going to scroll down, see vorticity intensity. We'll increase that by quite a bit. We'll increase our constant mask as well. Yeah, it burns really, really quick for some reason whenever you use EmberGen. It's pretty cool though. It is a totally different type of look that you get there. So you can tell that BFECC is the master of big explosions. Need to make sure we turn this back down to like, what was it, 3,000? Uh-oh. I might have just borked everything. we might have a bug. I'm not sure what's going on. Why it needs so much fuel now. Oh, I think I know. I have really high vorticity now. A lot higher than what I was using. Maybe the vorticity is shredding the fuel too hard. We'll go back to like, I think it was 25. Let's see. Making me envious with my 1070 so smooth. Yeah, I was envious of 3090s too until I got one. Miraculously. Let's see, I have to go through all your tutorials, but I bought EmberGen to do better clouds for fly-through animations. Yeah, so pretty cool for clouds as well. EmberGen can do a lot for that. What does constant mask do? I guess my question is, where did you see that? I know that we have like a mask shape down here. If you let me know the node, I can let you know, but I don't know exactly offhand where like a constant mask setting is. Only other mask I know is that. Oh, constant mask, there it is. Yeah, so constant mask, it's the base value for vorticity for like velocity, temperature, and smoke, I think. It actually says independent of it, but it does like in one of the other channels, it vex that channel as well, so it's kind of a hit or miss thing. Yeah, I think I like broke the simulation by switching switching sim modes, so it's probably something we need to investigate. Because it broke everything. I don't know why. But yeah, so if we go back here and we go to say like massive explosion 4, you can use like particles as your emission source, and then you can get really huge cool explosions like this, high detail. And so we can see we've got big stuff here. And in my simulation, we're doing BFECC first order, 100% oxygen, 32% smoke gain, lower velocity dissipation, lower smoke dissipation, 36% vorticity, and 80% on the velocity mask, 250 buoyancy, and then we probably got some cool nifty stuff going on in the shader here too. You can see that there's quite a bit of stuff going on the timeline. So we're changing like our scattering, changing how smoke is sharpened, also changing the modulation gain. And so what modulation am I changing? So temperature and flames. So it looks like 1,000 to 100. So we're reducing the gain on the flames here, so that they kind of die out a whole lot better. So yeah. Daniel still says that he doesn't get the constant mask. So here, what we'll do, we'll go to a new preset. We will demonstrate constant mask, and hopefully the demonstration will show you what it does. It's kind of hard to explain. I did a poor job at explaining it. So we'll turn this to 0, turn this to 0, turn this to 0. So now everything on vorticity is 0. Let's see, no shredding, no turbulence, nothing. We'll remove the forced noise. And so here we go. Here is a vorticity-less, or at least extra vorticity. Here's none at all in the simulation. If we increase the intensity for vorticity with everything 0, nothing is going to happen. So what we'll do is we'll keep this on 25. If we change it to the velocity mask, the velocity channel is going to receive that vorticity that we added in. And we can see that this is our our thing. If we do it to temperature, it's now going to add vorticity to temperature. If we do it on smoke, it's only going to do it on the smoke. And then finally, we have this constant mask, which I believe does it to everything. So it does it to smoke, temperature, and everything else. And so you can kind of like have like a base value for everything and then add extra stuff on top. So a little bit of temperature, a little bit extra on smoke, so on and so forth. And that gives you full control over that kind of stuff. And yes, wind is off as well. So anything that could affect how that was moving has been changed. And so constant, think of it as like the base vorticity for smoke, temperature, and velocity, and then anything else is extra percentage on a per channel basis. Ugh, what a mouthful. So hopefully that explains it. You add the noise, you get that the extra look. Let's use our modulation trick here. We'll add in an extra modulator. We'll do temperature to smoke, and we'll go here, do like 2500. Oh, that's way too much. 1000. It's kind of funny. Let's see where smoke is, maybe. Do it to the temperature. Do it to the flames. Yeah, so you can get some interesting effects with modulation. Actually, what it looks like, I think what I'm doing is where there's smoke, I'm telling it to boost the flame. So maybe like 5000 where there's smoke. And that gives you higher flames inside the smoke. But yeah, pretty interesting. And so somebody said a little late here, but how's the 3090 doing? 3090 is phenomenal. Phenomenal, to say the least. I think that's an understatement. Another cool one that I really like that was kind of slow on my old 1080 was this dry ice preset. We can expand the bounds on this thing immensely. So we can go full 512 by 512. And so there you go. Huge spread of stuff here. And we can probably do some post-processing on this. Sharpen up the smoke a little bit. It's pretty cool. We can also do like some stylization. It's kind of cool. Oh, look at that. It's like a cloud layer or something whenever you do that. It's pretty cool. It's like an endless sky with a giant cloud factory or something. Stylized radius. Oh, yeah, it makes it softer. It's pretty cool. We've got this thing just like leaking out, leaking out clouds. That's kind of cool. What happens if we change the buoyancy a little bit? Maybe something a little bit higher. Or maybe we increase our pressure here. Let's see. There we go. Some bigger puffy, some bigger puffy clouds. It's kind of cool how it kind of rolls to the sim there. So, yeah, really awesome stuff that you can do on this 3090 in real time. Back to sharpening, more maybe more realistic puffy clouds. We can also go into the volume and maybe want to say increase some of this stuff here. Kind of change how this right here looks. Get some pretty cool cloudscape that you can have there. Yeah, if you look at it from the bottom, looks like clouds to me. And so, you know, I wonder, let's go ahead and let's edit this real quick, and we'll delete the collider, and maybe let's make some puffy clouds here. And so what we could do is, like right now we have like a really high weight on this simulation, So let's just make that like 0. And there you go. That is minus it hitting the bounds up here. Let's remove that. We got a 3090. I keep wanting to say a 1080 because that's what I normally have. Here we go. We got a 3090. Let's see what these clouds can do. And you know, it might have been good to kind of have some weight there so that it kind of falls down and gets down on like a layer down there. So here we go. We're gonna add some weight to it. Maybe we'll do like 1500. What we could do is we could animate the smoke weight as well if we wanted to. So here we go. Now we got that. It's kind of, if we reduce our sharpening, I bet we can remove some of that. Yeah, looks like some interesting stuff going on there. And so now what you could do is, like, say frame 200 something, you could just turn off your smoke weight. So let's go ahead and turn that off manually. And now we've got something like this. And we've got these big puffy clouds coming up. And wow, cumulonimbus grow, right? And so now we got something like that. It's a pretty interesting cloud VDB. Kind of radial because of the way that the shock waves are propagating through this. So yeah, and then we could get some better shading on this too. So let's go into like our volume and let's see, ambient shadowing. We can turn this on higher because whenever you have it really low, you're going to get like these really washed out colors. This ambient shadowing is going to get you some really nice deep detail on those clouds. And then we can also make this a little bit more of a blue hue as well, since to my knowledge rain clouds are kind of blue. Maybe something like that. So we got that, and then we can change like our like how much light is going to pass through these, whether or not they're thick or thin clouds. We can change our in scattering probability to be like 100%. And if we go into our scene and let's do sky, atmosphere, no ground. So now we're in the sky, we're in the clouds. Sky color transfer, you can kind of add in some of that. It's not perfect though. Let's boost that sky color. And perhaps we want to increase our lighting as well. Maybe make this a hell of a lot more cloudy looking. There you go. That's a really puffy looking cloud. And of course we can go back into this. We could do stylized. Uh-oh. that is ultra thick. We want to do some dilation instead. When you dilate it, it makes it you can either do like negative dilation, which gives you like subtractive detail. You can also do some puffy dilation. And by the way, these what do you call it? These volume post processes, they do ship, or not ship, they export to VDB. So your VDBs will look like this whenever you export them. And we can run this a little bit more if we want some more shape in the clouds. Something like that, like the cloud is growing. The storm cloud hitting the top of the stratosphere. You can fake it and say that that's what it's doing. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So we can maneuver the light, make it brighter. And if we make it brighter, we can always, let's see, increase our extinction shadowing a little bit more if we need to. And maybe reduce our in scattering a little bit. And so now you've got something like that. It's kind of funky that you've got these the different shapes like on the side, these interesting wisps, and so it is interesting. And of course you can always restart the sim. In this case, it's not going to sink down to the bottom anymore. Kind of growing a cloud. Let's see, show bounds. Okay, so we're like way over on the side here. So let's do a shape over here. And let's maybe do like a torus. Well, that grew fast. It's kind of cool how it starts out. You can step through it. And so like you might want more vorticity on this. So we can go into the sim change our vorticity intensity. Let's boost it way higher. Now we've got a whole lot more detail. And then, let's be naughty. Hopefully this don't kill it. 671 671 million voxels. Let's hit apply. See what it does. All right, here we go. 671 million. It appears that it's just not going to work. I think it's that upscaling bug. Oh no. But it's at 11.8 gigabytes of VRAM. Let's try again. Something that I'm doing, or something that is wrong with our code, that is preventing upscaling from working on the 3090. I don't think I had these problems on my 1080. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Might be a crash. Not responding. Any minute now. Oh no. Okay. All right. We successfully crashed it. 671 million voxels. It allocated the memory the first time, but I think something's broke. I don't know if it's the new drivers for the 3090, if it's the 3090 in general. Maybe we have bad memory allocation because we've never really tested on cards with this much memory. I don't know. But sure. Look at that. EmberGen saved our work. The magnificent the magnificence of EmberGen autosave. Oh, never lose your work again, folks. It's glorious that EmberGen does it. If you click no, you lose it forever though. So make sure you click yes if you really do want to reload your last thing. Yep. And so no rip Cumulus. EmberGen saves the day. Let's catch up on some of these comments real quick. Hi, is there a way to control or change fluid temperature? For example, would it be possible to simulate convection of a fluid by setting two zones with different temperatures? Maybe, but probably not. Like right now, if you set two different zones of temperatures, they kind of cancel each other out, and it doesn't really work how you expect. So I'm going to go with no, but hopefully in the future. Man, there's nice clouds. Thanks for showing the dry ice preset. This is the kind of tutorial that I wanted. And so, sorry, I had the sim paused and YouTube just said, it's not going to be smooth stream. You're going to experience buffering. So let's see. Freeze the cloud and move clouders through it. That's what I found myself doing, and it came out well. Well, let's try it. So let's go here, and let's go to shapes, primitive. We'll do a sphere. I guess you can kind of paint a cloud that way. So let's do this. We need some more vertical area. Let's reduce it on the side so that we still have some higher performance here. All right, here we go. We're painting. we're painting the cloud. I need a bigger brush. There we go. Okay, that is just way too much velocity transfer. Far too much. It doesn't work like you would hope it would. I do not think. Kinda. I don't know. You can get some interesting shapes. Let's see. Yeah, Bob Ross simulation here. Not sure how I did again. It's animating a bunch of stuff. Zero. Saw you guys are the best. Congratulations, Nick Siebert. Thank you, Mohammed. Nice to see you on here. Haven't talked to you in a while. You should message me. Let's see. Quickly cut to commercials. Yeah. And so yeah, 3090 for the win. Mackenzie Shirk. He's the guy who helped me get the 3090. Thank you, longtime friend. I love you long time. Let's see. Show us some LiquidGen. I don't have anything for LiquidGen right now. Nothing at all to show. You're not going to get me to show anything. But for all the people who are on the stream right now and you missed it, look at this glorious technological innovation, real-time mesh animations in EmberGen. This is the commercial break. Damn it. This is the commercial break. Real-time animations in EmberGen, voxelizing everything in real time. It takes like 0.1 milliseconds for each frame for this this animated character, and we can do like 8 million triangles or something like that in real time on a 3090. This is running on a 3092, but it's probably still really fast on like a 1080 or a 1070, just due to the way that it's coded. And this is the only preview that I have right now for animated meshes. I'm like right up close to the camera. It's pretty exciting. So this is the only demo we have to show right now. A lot of it's still hard coded and stuff like that, but it is what it is. Zeus said, giving out educational licenses. I applied for one twice and never heard back. That's because we're working on our platform. We're gonna have paid educational licenses. Too many people took advantage of us. Shame on them. So shame on them to the people who were lying to us is what I mean. So paid licenses, but the gist of paid educational licenses is I think they're like 80% off or something like that. And there's no export limitation. So we had some universities contact us and they said, hey, our students are doing this stuff, but the resolutions are kind of limited and it's hurting their portfolios. So it's, okay, well, we'll make a paid version, have no restrictions, still non-commercial, but you can have as much detail as you want in your portfolio. So that's the gist. But the platform to make that happen isn't built yet, so we just aren't approving applications because there's nothing to approve right now. So hopefully that answers your question, Zeus. In due time, we will get to them. I assure you, we have your application, just haven't looked through them. We probably have like, I don't know, judging on the fact that we got like 200 applicants a week, we probably have like 5,000 right now or something, so it'll be a little while. So let's see. Mind blown. My mind is blown too. And so let's see. Let's open up something else. Maybe like boiling poison. This was a kind of a tough preset in the golden days. Let's maximize that that range there. It's pretty awesome. And so, did Vastric make the animated meshes? No. Gaxil or Gil. I don't know how you say it. He's been on our team for a long time. Dayamisu? I don't know. I should ask him. I don't even pronounce his first name right. I said Gil, but apparently that's not how you pronounce it. He's Belgian, so I'll just stick with my American accent for now, though. I have trouble pronouncing foreign names like that. Oh well. No, we do not support multi-GPU right this second. We have hopes. We have high hopes in the future to do so. Oh wow. I know that this preset right here used to run really, really slow. That's really fast. This used to run really, really slow on my 1080. That thing is ridiculous. Oh yeah. Look at this. These presets are just being blazed through. Let's do Rocket. I know that this used to run slow on my 1080. Nice. That is pretty good. Spacegate. Look at the stability. Look at that. That is quick. Let's change this to green or orange or something. Something that is not. There we go. Fiery gates of hell. I need to change the I need to change the collider to be orange. Whoops. Let's see. There we go. Gates of hell. The butane gates of hell, because whenever you ignite butane, it's like blue at the beginning, right? Color gradient. So yeah, we can go over here, make this smoke orange as well. So pretty quick, pretty nifty. I like it. Let's go into our emitter, and let's see, what are we doing here? We've got emitter, smoke strength. This is using the advanced mode. We need more fuel. That's pretty cool. So let's see, other people. I asked if 23090s would improve anything. Yes, it does not improve anything at all, because sharing memory between two graphics cards is pretty difficult, and it's quite slow for now. Let's see, you guys should do cloth simulation. Maybe one day. Probably not, though. But maybe. Just learning about EmberGen. Awesome stuff. Need to learn how to use VDBs in 3ds Max. I'm sure that there's a VDB rendering tutorial out there somewhere. Lots of Fume Effects users can probably utilize the same shading knowledge that goes along with that. Feels like it's taken me 3 months before I know how to get... Or it'll take me 3 months before I know how to make half of these things on my own. Damn. Well, the good thing is that we provide the presets for them, and you can diagnose them and play with them and see what happens. Like, this is really simple. We have, let's see. So basically, we remove the colliders. This is what we get. Colliders were helping out with some of the velocity stuff. That's kind of cool that this creates like a crazy cross vortex thing. So yeah, so we got that, and the gist is that you've got a ring, and then I believe we're emitting or changing like the rotation of it. Yeah, so we're just animating the rotation. You got some fire. I mean, a line that's like if we repel this. Let's see, repelling force. And actually, yeah, so we got like a twist strength, point force, things like that. This one's a little bit more complicated to just diagnose on stream because I didn't build it. But a lot of these things are quite simple. You know, especially if we go into things like, you know, like hot slag trails or something like that. I mean, it's really simple. You've got a particle emitter. You got some noise force. You got the emission over here. You can increase the temperature. You can increase the smoke rate. So like smoke rate's being animated here. So something like that. You know, you can easily change like how many are being emitted. So 64. You can change, you know, like the maximum speed. So you can have like a big burst if you want. And then if you want to improve your bounds here, so let's see, that's x-axis. If we want to improve that so that they can go farther, you can do so. And then if you want to improve it on Z, you can do that too. So you go. Now they all go farther, don't hit the bounds. So it's pretty quick to just go in, learn some of this stuff. In this case, it's not using fuel. Somebody said need more fuel. We can change this from basic to combustion, and then we can add in fuel. But we need to lower our smoke rate. I think it's way too much smoke. There we go. So now it's combustible. And there we go. And we can also do like some gas release on this. Look at that. It's pretty cool. It explodes. So it's really quick to just change our presets and kind of build whatever you want. We can reduce the smoke gain, and we can reduce like the ignition temp. Oh, maybe not. Uh-oh. That's temp gain. Increase our ignition temp. And we can gain more temperature if we want to. Creates more smoke. Reduce more smoke gain. Kind of do what you want. We can change the gas release to be lower now too. So yeah, I mean, there's so much cool stuff that you can do here with the EmberGen. When will the maximum particles of the shape node increase? Look at my camera. It's a big cringe. I don't know. Because it's not a simple thing, because what we're doing is we're spawning 64 individual shape nodes for you essentially, and it's not the most efficient way to do things, because then we control it on like a per particle basis. So hopefully eventually, but I don't have a timeline for you. I feel bad about it too, because I want to be able to do like 5,000 tendrils and stuff like that, like Houdini can do, but we can't do it right now just because of how performance heavy these little particles are, unfortunately. Anybody need blue fire? So yeah, a lot of this stuff is it's really simple, you know. Like this stuff, you know, you've just got emitter activity, color boost, whatever, a couple different emitters to do this kind of thing. So like you can alt click any connection to remove it. You can see it's comprised of two different things. We got like the spider web tendril things, and then we've got like the main burst. Main burst is just comprised of a sphere emitter, noise, a line force, and a color gradient to color the particles. And then the tendrils are just a particle emitter plugged into the emitter shapes. And that's really about it. And then we have the same color gradient applied to that. And if we change the color gradient, I don't think that the particles change live, because once they are created, they are created. Yeah, so like now if we do this, like you can see, now we just added like blue to this like weird simulation thing. And if you want to increase like the particle life, we can go here. We can say where's it at? Let's see, there we go, lifetime. So increase it to like 2 seconds. And so there you go. Like if you need more lifetime, I mean, a lot of these parameters are really simple, self-explanatory. If you go through, like, that's the good thing with EmberGen is, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like everything is just really, really simple once you understand how all the parameters kind of work with each other. And the beauty of this is that it is real time, as you can see here. Yes, this is on a 3090, but every other stream I've ever done was on a 1080, so you can do this all in real time on other cards too. And so, you know, it's like you just go in, you play with the presets, you play with the parameters. We have like whole documentation. You can hover over any parameter and you can see it will tell you a tooltip, like telling you what it is. You know, you can do like you know, regular spawning, you can do clustered spawning, and if you're like, well, I don't know what that is, well, just click it and just change it and see what it does. So hopefully this gives you more hope into being able to do whatever. Like we've completely changed this simulation just by messing around for like a couple minutes here. You know, you can change like your particle seed and your particle count and just, you know, do whatever you want. I mean, it's pretty crazy stuff. One thing I want to look at is the planet explosion. Let's see, realistic aerial planet explosion. Might have to step through it because at the beginning is when it's the planet. I didn't edit this slow enough to to not be that fast, so we can see how much my timing is actually off in this case. So yeah, it's kind of cool though that you can get this kind of shading and stuff with little tiny particulates. And I know that I've got another one, like let's see, GPU realistic aerial explosion. And so yeah, really, really quick. And so this is where retiming is going to come into play. We have ideas for retiming for like your simulation, so that like if you're like, this thing is going way too fast, I want to retime the sim and how it works, then we're gonna have retiming hopefully in the next build in January too. So let's see. Yeah, and so yeah, somebody said in terms of the particle counts, whenever we have animated meshes in fully, you could just bring in a bunch of different particles as meshes, and then it would just work. And so yeah, so this is this is 4 milliseconds sim time, 2 millisecond render time for this giant thing, and so if we increase the sim size, it's going to be a whole lot slower. Yeah, see that's the timing that I that I initially built it around on like my 1080. And we could even go here and we could add like some additional pressure to kind of blow through a lot of this and explode it bigger. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool what you can do. So let's see, are the tooltips finished? Yes, every single thing has tooltips, and we also have full documentation. So I'll show you our website real quick. And so if we go here to the website, you go to Learn Documentation, View Documentation. Ta-da! Look at that. It takes a little bit to load because there's like 1 billion images on this, and it's loading all the pages. There's like 70 something pages. But we have tons and tons and tons and tons of data on what everything is and what it does and how it looks and whatever. So tons of tons of documentation. So go check that out if you haven't. You can see pictures, comparing stuff on a lot of things. Not a lot of things, but some things that are important. Lights and whatever. So if you need help learning, there's also that resource. And I'm going to say it publicly so that you can hold me to it, but we hope to have like 20 plus tutorials on all kinds of stuff Q1 next year. So after our major release, my core goal is just getting out tons of tutorials so that I can go through how to create an explosion, how to create a rocket trail, how to create a missile, how to create, you know, a magic potion, how to make a mana or something like that, like a mana well thing like this. You know, how to do all kinds of crazy stuff with EmberGen. You know, we'll go through like the UI, how to use the timeline, how to use the curve editor, how to export VDBs, looping simulations, everything. We're gonna have tutorials on all of it. And the reason why we don't have tutorials now, or we only have 5, but that's because we knew that the UI was going to change so drastically that it was just going to be a waste of time to do all the tutorials that that we wanted to do. And so we're waiting until the UI is done. When that's done in our January release, then we'll start hard back on the tutorials. Rashid, don't know how you say that. I said, I love you guys' licensing model, by the way. It's beautiful. Yes, it is. You can get a perpetual license with an annual license. And the longer you stay with us, the cheaper it gets on annual. And it kind of like works out as like maintenance, essentially. And so pretty cool. You get perpetual licensing. And of course, staying subscribed helps support our development because this is not cheap. We have 9 full-time people. So business is expensive. But yeah. So yeah, so let's see. I just realized the title said 3090. How the hell did you manage to get one, Nick? My friend in Canada said that there was one in like a computer store, like Canada Computers or something. There's one local to him. Sent him the money. He bought it, shipped it to me, paid a import fee, and did not have to pay scalper prices. I just paid the taxes and whatnot on it and got the card. So it's very beautiful. It's a beautiful situation. I'm happy to finally have a 3090. So yeah, so all this is running on the 3090 now. And let's look at like this nebula. See how well it runs. Pretty quick. This is let's see, in terms of simulation, 23 million voxels. I thought it was more than that. Let's see, 160. Let's apply. Yeah, so now it's 110 million voxels. And we're doing about 14 milliseconds on the sim. It looks like 30 milliseconds at the top peak of the sim on render. And so let's see. How's the Unreal Engine plugin coming? Not at all right this second. Just simply because we're working on the main release, but next year we're going to have some stuff to show for Unreal. Volumes in Unreal, maybe even some real-time 2D simulations and stuff like that. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Send one to DK, please. I'm sure there's one you can find out there. Actually, there are 3090s available on like the EU. There's like these tracker websites you can find for like low stock items. That's how someone on our team got a 3090 as well. So let's see. Let's look at the oil fire. Yeah, that runs really fast. It's got some really bad shading on it though. Probably needs sharpening. Sharpening on the temperature. Maybe lower the fire adjustment there to get some more reds. And maybe change our intensity. Now need some modulation. We'll do temperature to flames. Something like that. Let's check out our scene. Reduce this color vibrance. Uchimara. It's already looking better. Probably needs a little bit more help. Let's see. It's kind of hard to balance. There we go. It's looking better. A little bit more realistic. Not perfect. It's got some pinks in there, but looks a hell of a lot better. So yeah, so that shows just how quickly you can change the shading from garbage to not as garbage. Hopefully we get some better pyro flames and stuff like that here soon. What is the latest version licensed users can test? Been a while. This version right here, 0.5.6.1 is the latest that we have. If you are a licensed user and you are interested in testing out animated meshes, camera imports, and things like that before we get it into like the public licensed user build, because we're doing like a separate QA channel for film and we want people to be like actively testing it for us. Go to the licensed user section on our Discord if you have the tag, and just PM me and tell me that you want to get down on the QA testing for the film features. And then, because we need help, we need people who have animated meshes, we need cameras, we need back plates and all that stuff, and make sure that it works like in an actual film workflow. If you just do like, hobby Blender stuff, no offense, probably not going to be much help. But we want like serious people who do serious CGI scenes, who have a lot of experience and who can help us get stuff tested really well. So if you have that experience and you want to help us test animated meshes and stuff, PM me on Discord, and then I will add you to the QA film section of our dev chat, and then we can get you on board. And then hopefully in like a week or two, we'll have our first build. Maybe Christmas present for those people. And of course, cannot show anything that you get from those builds, just because top secret UI, stuff like that. So, yeah. Matthew says, I've only ever known EmberGen on the 3090. Lucky you. Lucky you. So, yeah. LiquidGen, will it be included in the Django FX suite, or will it be extra price for it? It's included in the suite. If you buy the suite now, you will, like, even if you don't have an active subscription but you have a perpetual license to the suite, so say the annual license, you will get LiquidGen completely free up until its first like major version. Like once it's out of beta, that's the version that you'll keep. So yeah, so if you have the suite, you will get LiquidGen free of charge as long as you either have a perpetual or your subscription is active. So yep, there you go. You will not have to pay extra. Now, when LiquidGen is added, the suite price might go up for everybody else, but we'll see. Might just keep it the same. So yeah, that's about it, guys. You know, showed off a lot of really cool stuff. You know, showed the power of the of EmberGen. There we go. We got a meteor. It's pretty cool. We need sparse grids so that we can simulate a whole lot more. Actually, before I get off the stream, I want to do something. So let's see, Y. Let's do 1024. Oof. Show bounds. Massive. And then let's do Z. So let's go here. We'll do something like this. How's that? How's that for a big simulation in EmberGen? Something like that. And we can probably add in some gas expansion too. Some extra gas expansion at least. Make that meteor bigger. Yeah, so pretty cool. And then if we want to, we can add in some higher voxels up here, so that the smoke doesn't hit as quickly. And so on my 1080, this thing would probably die. Yeah, we're at, I don't know, it's 46 million voxels. That's not terrible. But we've got 20 milliseconds on the sim, 10 on the render. It's pretty cool that you can do longer trails and stuff like this by kind of cheating. But with sparse grids, like I've said multiple times, all of this right here wouldn't be calculated. All of this right here wouldn't be calculated. And then you could have trails like like all the way over here, like all this big. Like, I mean, you could have really huge simulations with sparse grids. So coming up real soon. Other than that, guys and girls, let's see, these kind of shots are the worst when you have bounding boxes. Yes, that's why we hope to fix it in due time. Other than that, I think this is a close to the stream. Did some cool tutorial stuff, taught you how to do delayed combustion, taught you how to kind of edit particles a little bit, taught you how to make clouds, and showed off some really cool sims. And showed off the very first look at animated meshes. So yeah, so you know, it's pretty crazy. Lots of cool stuff. Our streams will be so much smoother and better now that we have a 3090 on deck, as you can see. And no endorsement implied, but if you want a good one, this one has performed really well. It's the Zotac gaming one. So if you right now, beggars can't be choosers, but this one, easy install. It's gigantic. I had to remove a part of my case to fit it. But anyway, that is it for the stream, guys. If you have questions, hop in the Discord. Like I said, if you want to test some of our film features, so animated meshes, cameras, and you are more of the professional type, so you've been doing it for a while and you can bring good knowledge to our QA testing, and like, you know how it should work and things like that, DM me on Discord. We'll add you to the QA for film and give you some early builds so that you can help us test our big release that's coming up. Other than that, see you for now, guys, and keep it real. Upgrade your GPUs. EmberGen needs it. More power. All right, we'll catch you guys later. Peace out for now. Have a happy holiday.